Yo people, welcome back to the YouTube channel. You already know what time it is. It's time for your Brentford versus Chelsea preview. I bet you wasn't expecting to see me outside here, but I said to myself, do you know what, let me come out here to Brentford. G-Tech Community Stadium is not far from me. It's also not far from Stamford Bridge as well, situated in West London. They got a little rail line to the right of me as well. It feels very similar. It's not the district line, but it will do. Do you know what I'm saying? But it's only going to feel like home if we come here and get the 3 points like we did last season. If you guys remember last time we came to this stadium, same date as well. I think it was the 16th of October both times. Kepa and Mendy masterclasses away from home. Kepa obviously against Aston Villa, and now Brentford. Mendy last season in a 1-0 win, masterclass performance. Like I said, in that game we were hanging on same kind of way, getting absolutely bombarded. Balls were coming into the box, crosses from both sides, long throws as well. Janssen will look to try and do that again. He tried it against Brighton. They just want to pack the box when they do decide to get forward and cause absolute chaos and havoc, and we're going to have to try and deal with that. Now, luckily, both teams have played on the weekend, so hopefully from a fitness perspective, we're not coming in at a massive disadvantage. Obviously, they played against Brighton on the Friday. We played, though, on the Sunday, so they've got a little bit more, fuel potentially in the tank. But even still, they've got their own injuries as well. There's no Hickey, there's no Norgard, there's no Janssen as well. So they've got a few injury problems. Now, usually when they come up against a big team like an Arsenal, they obviously got slapped up to Newcastle as well, even though they are 9th. So again, they're having a very good season. They tend to revert back to the 3-5-2 when they don't feel like they're going to dominate. They put Mbeumo and Tony up top in the front two. Same thing they did against us last season, and they kind of pack the midfield. Now, when they do feel like they can take ascendancy and they can take control and they can kind of force the issue like they did against Brighton, they go to a 4-3-3. Now, that would tell me that they're going to go back to a 3-5-2, but because of the injuries that I'm talking about, maybe they won't feel like they have the personnel to do it. We shall see. But I do expect them to go a little bit more defensive and maybe move back to that 3-5-2. Like I said, they're 9th. They're having a good start to the season. It's not a massive high-pressure kind of game in a relegation scrap for them at the moment in this early point. So hopefully we'll see what happens with them. Raya had an absolute masterclass. Along with Kepa, Raya last weekend had a masterclass against Brighton. The man made just untold saves. It was untold. Keep that hush-hush, because it was ridiculous what he was doing out there on the field to keep them in that game. It was pretty, back and forth. Both teams played very well, but like I said, Raya just came out trumps. Some really good goalkeeping performances last weekend. So that's what we have to look forward to from a Brighton perspective. We know they're going to be physical. Like I said, Janssen as well will try those long throws. Tony is in serious form. He got 2 goals against Brighton. Wonderful little back flick, kind of back heel goal from the right hand side. Mbeumo is his dance partner, his front. He's not as clinical, he's not as glitz and glamour as Tony, but he does the hard yards, he does the hard work, he helps create chances, and he's a physical presence in that front too. And we've seen multiple times with Chelsea, especially when they deploy that back three, that teams feel like it's the best way to go up against them is to go and put that front two up there, whether it be Ings and Watkins with Villa, whether it be Mbeumo and Tony up top. Whether you put that front two up there and you press the living daylights out of a back three and try and force them to not be able to play out from the back, that's where we could be struggling. So we have to be mindful of that. Now, for me in this game, we know what it calls for. We have to expect a battle, expect a physical test. We may not get to walk it and walk all over them from minute 0 to 90. I'm not expecting that. I'm expecting a difficult game. That's why, for me, the personnel's got to be on point. We've got to go out there with some fighters. We've also got to, mindful of the fact that, yes, we've still got these same injuries, but also Silva, for me, probably does need a rest. He's come off a little niggle in the last game. We need him for Manchester United, so I wouldn't play him. My team and Brighton's expected team is up on the screen. Like I said, this is according to SofaScore. They're going to go over 4-3-3, but I'm just putting out there that they've gone with 3-5-2s in the past. Maybe they will, maybe they won't, depending on the personnel, whether they think they can execute it properly. Or maybe on and off the ball it will be different as well, so watch out for that switch. I wouldn't be surprised if they do go over 3-5-2, to be honest. For us, I would say Kepa stays in goal. I think he's in great form. He's playing out of his skin. This is probably the best game he just played of his Chelsea career in the last match. Deserves untold credit for that. So Mendy, has to wait for that maybe Zagreb game in match day 6 in the Champions League. If we can potentially sew it up against Salzburg next week, then maybe there'll be a free hit there. And obviously Man City in the cup as well, so he will get his chances. And I don't think it's fair to disrespect Mendy and to start saying, oh, he's washed and he's he's finished, because at the end of the day, this is a goalkeeper that won UEFA Goalkeeper of the Year, won us the Champions League in fine form with that defence. He can still recover from this. I don't know who's going to be the long-term first choice. I don't even know if they're both going to end up staying at the club long-term. But respect needs to be put on Mendy even when Kepa's playing this well. And Kepa's obviously been brilliant. Fair play to him. In the back 4, I'm going with Cucurella because he came off early. Didn't play well. Absolutely awful. Probably his worst Chelsea performance. But I'm putting him in there at left back. Chilwell, I'm saving for Manchester United. Like I said, I think a little bit of rotation. He did come off early, and I think that was the wake-up call, hopefully, that he needs as well to respond to that. And then Koulibaly and Trevor and Azpilicueta in the back four. So, like I said, you could play anyone between Chilwell and Cucurella, but I have said before, I do feel like Chilwell's come off a massive injury. We do need to be careful with him. Don't play him every single game. This will be a very, very physical game as well. So that's part of my thinking there with Cucurella. But, you know, up to you guys how you feel about that. In the midfield, for me as well, I'd go with either a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-2-2-2. Main point in saying that is that for me, I'd like to see Jorginho and Ruben Loftus-Cheek in the midfield. Jorginho obviously didn't start against Villa, so again, he's got maybe a little bit more fuel in the tank, minutes-wise, and I don't think Kova had the greatest game against Aston Villa. I thought he dispossessed or gave the ball away quite cheaply at a lot of times, so I think there's still room for competition there. Ruben, for me, has been our best midfielder. His physicality, Ruben, his dual success rate, his ability to use his strength to shield the ball, to help us on set pieces, I think he's going to be huge. He's a big guy, and for me, this is going to be a big game, and it's going to be a lot of problems in terms of just the physicality of the match. So for me, I think Ruben has to play. He's been our best centre midfielder for a few games now. I think he's probably in some serious form. And then for me, Mason Mount and Gallagher ahead. Now, same as Wolves, you could put that in a 4-2-3-1, put Gallagher on the right and put Mount in the middle. But I think they can both interchange. They can both press from the front. They can both cause problems in the half spaces, hopefully link up. And Gallagher hopefully continues to play well like he did against Wolves. And like I said, for me, it's about the physicality, the way that these two are able to apply their intensity onto the game. I think it's going to be a tough night. It's a late night kickoff. It's going to involve people having to dig deep and really find new, parts of their game where they can just bring it out of nowhere, because players will be tired. We've got injuries. It's a tough game away from home. It's a 7:30 kickoff. We've got Manchester United as well in the weekend. It's not easy, guys. This is going to be a really, really tough game, and I think it calls for these kind of characters who are just relentless. And hopefully we can, like I said, if they go to that 3-5-2, then if they do try and outnumber us in midfield, then these kind of guys can get involved and try and put their rubber stamp on the game. Mason Mount's in serious form. You don't have to ask me why he's starting. The guy's picking up man in the matches now, making decisive goals, making decisive actions. That's what we need in this game from him again. And Pulisic for me as well, I would play ahead of Sterling. I think it's time to give him a go. I think Sterling in the last couple of weeks hasn't really been up to his level that he set at the start of the season when he was scoring those winners and kind of dragging our attack through games when he was probably our most informed attacker. I think he's dropped off a little bit. I'm not really worried because Sterling has had a long, glistening career. He's had lots of competition before. He's played in the best team in the world, or best team in the country for the best part of God knows how long. He will recover from this. He's got the quality to. I think he just needs a rest, just needs some time out, sit on the step, do you know what I'm saying? Just relax, chill, and maybe come on as an impact sub. But I think Pulisic, after his performance against Wolves, does deserve to play. He played really well in that game, got himself a goal, and it's important to keep him involved, keep him energized, keep him, feeling like he's part of things. I don't know if the same really applies to Ziyech. He's been doubtful for the last few games. He's probably leaving in January. I heard there potentially could be talks with AC Milan, but that's been rubbished by Fabrizio. Regardless, I don't think he's going to be at this club for too much longer. Whereas Pulisic, not saying that he's even going to be at the club for, the long term, but I think mentally he might be more on side with the World Cup coming up for the USA as well. So just try and get him involved, I think, in this game, and let's see if we can cause some problems. And he could either play on that left wing, like I said, in the 4-2-3-1, or he can move to the front two with Breuer as a front two, and Pulisic could pull off to the left. When Pulisic wants to be, he's a really good finisher. He can score goals for us. He's shown that, just doesn't have the consistency. But Breuer as well, I think he deserves to play again. It's going to be a tough night. It's a very energetic game. It's a late night kickoff, like I said. And I think Aubameyang, again, just resting for Manchester United. And if he needs to come off the bench, he can. But I think Breuer deserves to play. Scored against Wolves, wonderful finish. And again, he's got the physicality. He can hold the ball up, all these things. And if Brentford do decide to come onto us, do decide to maybe push further forward, then maybe Breuer can take advantage of that space as well. So that's the team I'm putting out. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below with your team as well for this game. For me, like I said, big, massive win is needed. W settings only. We're trying to build up a run, but at the same time, guys, this will be a tough game. So yeah, just expect it to be a bit of a long night because, like I said, the players are having to play literally just back to back, and Brentford do have a couple days on us training wise from playing on Friday. Also, news-wise, I saw Saka was linked to us. Ben Jacobs saying that Todd Boehly is infatuated and obsessed with Saka now, and he wants to bring him to the bridge for an untold amount of money. I'm saying untold a lot. I don't think this has any legs in terms of, I don't think it has any chance of happening. Now, we may be interested. I remember making a video on Twitter all those years ago saying that I'd love Saka to join Chelsea when his contract was running out before he signed a new deal at Arsenal. But I don't think he's going to be coming to us. I think he'll sign a new contract, as much as I would absolutely love to have him on that right-hand side. If he was to be like a replacement for Ziyech, and then you go and get an Nguku and somebody else on the left, Lord Jesus, it's beautiful. Beautiful. You're speaking my language. But it's not going to happen, so there's no point really getting too much further into it, but it's a hilarious link to see. And yeah, Todd Boehly really at this point is just kind of just like testing the waters. He's got a lot of money, he's excited, he seems like he wants to be involved in the transfer process as well, which was kind of not what we heard a couple of months ago, where he was kind of like itching to get everybody in place and employed in their position so he could take a step back and let the experts kind of deal with the recruitment and the scouting and all these things. And now it seems like as if he's really enjoying it, and according to reports he wants to be more involved, and that might be why we've slowed down a little bit on that sporting director, maybe waiting for Edwards. But you know, you've got Vavel, you've got Kyle from Brighton coming with Potter, you've got the new guy that just came in as well, Joe Shields. It doesn't seem like he wants to finish it off with a sporting director yet. He's got his technical, he's got his head of recruitment, he's got his co-director, he's got the people around him to give him the informed decision making and the experience and the know-how. And then it seems like he's going to maybe wait for Edwards, and while he's waiting for Edwards, he may act as sporting director for the January transfer window, because he seems to be enjoying it. So let's see what happens with that. Like I said, there doesn't seem to be much on the Ziyech front. I don't really see, you know, what's going on there. Not really too bothered at this point. I just kind of want him to get back to trying to contribute to the team. And like I said, with the injuries, it's basically the same thing. We're looking at the same situation. My prediction for this game is 2-1 to Chelsea. I do have a little feeling that they may get a goal from somewhere, probably Ivan Toney, but I do think we'll win the game. It will be tough. Let me know your score predictions, your team, down below in the comments. Big up your damn selves. In a bit, people. Peace.